Never mind. Gosh.
Abby, what did you do?
Sorry!
Good afternoon, Salem High School. Welcome to the Salem Show from our Washington County Community Foundation studios at Salem High School. I'm your host, Hannah.
And I'm your other host, Abigail.
Hey, Ab, do you know what today is?
Yeah. It's Friday. You know, the day we usually release the show?
No. Well, yes, but it's also 3 days away from Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. And 2 days away from Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, the next few days will give everyone something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think we all know the real reason we want to watch the Super Bowl this year.
All right, let's get on with the announcements for this week. Speaking of Valentine's Day, have you bought your secret crush,
Joe Burrow!
best friend, favorite teacher, or even your actual sweetheart a Valentine?
Student Council is selling Valentine grams in the lobby at lunch for $1. This includes a personalized Valentine, a tree, and delivery on Valentine's Day. Don't miss out.
Lions Unified will meet in the presentation room Monday during SRT. We will be welcoming Special Olympic athlete Elliot Daniels as a guest speaker.
And let's go back to Valentine's Day. Monday will be Valentine's Day. And in case you forgot to get that special someone a Valentine, the library will be providing all the materials you need to make your girlfriend, boyfriend, BFF, mom, grandpa, teacher, counselor, bus driver, or even your brother feel loved. Come in and join the fun. Quantities are limited, so don't miss out.
The Teen Science Cafe will be hosting Randy Irwin on Tuesday, February 15th in the fax room after school until 5 o'clock. Mr. Irwin is an engineer at MPP, and he will be talking about all things engineering. Snacks will be provided. If you have any questions, email Mrs. Morgan at jmorgan@salemschools.us.
Vending machines are off limits during school hours. If you need a snack, please go to the vending machines before the start of school or after school has let out for the day.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Just a reminder that ASVAB is Wednesday, February 16th. We will test at 8:15, 10:15, and 12:15 instead of 12:45 since it's a PLC day schedule.
The juniors will be taking the SAT the morning of Thursday, March 3rd. Look for more information about this test day set up later this week.
iStep retesting is during the week of February 21st.
And just your yearly reminder about your Chromebook, make sure when your Chromebook gets down to 5%, charge it.
Shut down your Chromebook to charge it. This will eliminate most issues in charging Chromebooks.
Winter is here. Make sure you're not leaving your Chromebooks out in the cold. This may harm their screens or interfere with connections.
On another note, if anyone is interested in joining the SLNN broadcast team, see Mr. Wade Swift in room 9.
There are great opportunities to learn behind the scenes of producing a live telecast.
There are so many jobs available, like commentating, producing, filming, and much more.
Plus, you get into the games for free and might even get fed. Get into the action and join the fun.
That's it for the announcements. Now let's head over to Natalie. Please tell us some good news. I'm tired of all the cold weather and ice.
Thanks, Abigail and Hannah. Now let's look at this week's forecast. Today, we have a high of 51 and a low of 25, and it's partly cloudy. It's also National Latte Day. Saturday, when the snow makeup game is against Scottsburg, we have a high of 42 and a low of 20, which is going to be pretty cloudy. Sunday, we have a high of 33 and a low of 16, partly cloudy again. It's also Super Bowl Sunday, so I'll be supporting Joe Burrow. Monday, and also quite possibly National Joe Burrow Day, we have a high of 41 and a low of 20, and it's also going to be sunny. Tuesday, we have a high of 48 and a low of 23, also going to be pretty sunny. Wednesday, we have a high of 48 and a low of 36. It's National Almond Day, and also going to be pretty cloudy that day. Thursday, we have a high of 42 and a low of 26 with a 60% chance of rain. And Friday, we have a high of 39 and a low of 28, and it's going to be pretty cloudy. Also, National Battery Day. Now, that's all for weather. Now, let's head back over to the anchors.
Whoa, Natalie. First off, we have a chance to get to talk to one of our state senators, Erin Houchin. Abby Shields, our very own, got to sit down and talk with her. Let's head over to that.
Today we have a chance to sit down with our very own Indiana State Senator, Erin Houchin. Thanks for sitting down with me, Senator.
Thanks for having me, Abby.
You've spent the last 7 years as Indiana State Senator. What's been your favorite bill that you've authored or assisted with?
You know, we've done a lot of work while I've been in the Indiana Senate. We have increased access for rural broadband. That's probably been the top issue for me since I was elected in 2014. We passed the third in the nation Broadband Grant program, which provides public dollars to private investment for broadband expansion so that everybody can have the internet. When I first started that effort, I spoke to students at West Washington, and I said, does anybody know where the most unserved area of the state is for broadband? And a student raised his hand and said, my backyard. And it was. Senate District 47 was one of the most unserved areas of the state for broadband access. So getting tired of waiting for the private sector to invest in our rural areas, we put up a bill to create this broadband grant program, which at the time we passed legislation, only 17% of the state had access to speeds greater than 1 gigabyte. And following the passage of the bill, there's been a $350 million investment from state dollars. It's Governor Holcomb. It became Governor Holcomb's Next Level Connections program, and now 87% of the state is covered with speeds of greater than 1 gigabyte. So that's one that I think has been in the top of my list for the most impact. The second bill would be the dyslexia screening bill, which is, you may know that Graham, our son, has dyslexia, and we didn't know anything about that when we started this effort, but now kids in K through 2 are screened for dyslexia. We have people trained to teach kids. Dyslexia is a reading disability. You can learn how to read and you can succeed just like any other student, but you learn to read differently. And the top 20% of students in classrooms will learn to read no matter how you deliver the material to them. The bottom 20% are dyslexic students that will only learn to read if you deliver it in a very specific and systematic way. And the middle group will learn better if you teach them the way that we teach kids with dyslexia. So we're changing the way we're teaching kids to read. If kids don't read by the time they leave the 3rd grade, they're highly likely to not graduate from high school and move on. And so now we're equipping our students with the tutoring and the resources and the accommodations necessary to make sure that our kids are achieving their maximum capability.
Have there been any surprising moments while on the job?
Oh, there's lots of surprising moments. I think what people would probably be most surprised about, and it was a surprise to me, is how much we work with the other side of the aisle. So we do have Republican supermajorities in the Senate. There are 39 Republicans and 11 Democrats in the Indiana Senate. There's 50 senators. We each represent different parts of the state. My Senate district included all of Washington County, Harrison County, Orange County, Crawford County, Perry County, and half of Du Bois County in southern Indiana. So we represent large areas of the state, and they're very diverse. So the surprising thing to me was how many bills passed 50-0 with Republicans and Democrats, and how many bills passed with bipartisan support. It's not like that in Washington, D.C., but at the State House, a good policy is just good policy, and we often, probably 80% of the time, we're on the same page, and that's good for Indiana.
You recently announced that you were going to seek the District 9 congressional seat after Representative Hollingsworth's term was over. Why did you decide to run for that office, and what are your goals?
I ran for this office in 2016 because I felt it was a critical point in the history of the country to fight back against the things that I don't think are good for our district. Right now, we have hyperinflation. We have federal spending that is going to put, I think the rate right now is $90,000 per person. Young folks who you have that now on your, that's on your tally, and each of you have $90,000 owed to the federal government because of the debt that has been created before you even turn 18. So I'm passionate about reducing the scope and size of government, getting the government out of the way, making the federal government do only what the federal government was intended to do by our founders. I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, so I want to make sure that our Second Amendment rights are protected. I'm a pro-life Republican, so I want to support the right to life. Really, I think this point in our history is a time where we always say every election is the most important election in our time, and I really believe this is one of those times. And so I'm running to fight for Southern Indiana and make sure that the East Coast and West Coast elites and their policies that I don't feel are good for the country, I want to push back against that, and that's why I'm running.
What advice would you give to people who want to get involved in politics?
I started in politics as a senior in college. I was an intern in the Indiana State Senate as a student at IU, and that's when I really got deeply interested in being involved in politics. I met Dustin, my husband. He was also an intern at the same time. And so yesterday when I gave my remarks on the Senate floor, I said the Senate literally gave me everything, because if it weren't for the Senate internship, I never would have met Dustin, and I wouldn't have Clara, Lane, and Graham, and wouldn't be where I am today. So in being involved, following the internship, I called my local county party chairman and said, hey, I'm interested in Young Republicans. And he said, we don't have a club, but you can start one. So we started the Young Republicans Club, and the rest, as they say, is history. So the best advice I have is to get involved with your local party, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Get involved with candidates. You know, Abby, you know, we talked a little bit before about things you can do on campaigns, and that's making phone calls and knocking on doors and even sending text messages and just promoting on social media. Don't be afraid to reach out to the people that are running for office. I've gotten several Facebook messages from people throughout the district, what can I do to help, and people I've never met. So those are great ways to do that, and that's the best way to get your foot in the door and be active in politics, is through your local party.
Can you give us a glimpse of what a typical day at the office looks like for you?
So at the State House, a typical day would be when I was in the Senate, I would leave about 7 in the morning to drive to Indianapolis. Committee usually starts at 9. Admittedly, I'm not always on time for committee start, but I drive I-65 every day, 2 hours up, 2 hours back in the evening, so I can be here for the swim meets and track meets and everything that the kids have going on. But drive up to Indy, you go to committee. So my committees are Family and Children's Services, Elections, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Transportation, Utilities, and Commerce and Technology. My committees meet on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So those days I'm in Indy for committee from 9 to about noon, sometimes longer. Then we'll go to caucus, which is the Republicans and Democrats kind of go into their own corners and into our own offices and discuss the legislation that's on the calendar for the day. We go into session at 1:30, and sometimes we're in, depending on how many bills are on the calendar that we have to vote for, we're in for just a few minutes, or we're in until 10 or 11, 12 at night. Now, if I'm up there that late, I do stay overnight. I don't drive home late at night, but most days I'm leave at 7, I'm home at 7:30 with all of that in between. And I should say there's also a lot of meetings with constituents and different people that are asking us to vote on bills in certain ways. And the ISTA was there yesterday, local government. Then they're all just lobbying us on different bills that are before us, and we take those meetings.
I know you and State Representative Steve Davison worked together. Sadly, he recently passed. What was your favorite memory of him?
So I have a lot of favorite memories of Representative Steve Davison. He was a very good friend of mine, and he also drove up to Indy and back every day. So I did get pulled over one time, and Steve flew by me. So he was, we run the roads, try to get to Indianapolis, and we have to be there for votes. So that is an important part of our job, but Steve would burn the roads up just as much as me, and I appreciated that about him. But when we very first started in 2014, the kids were pretty young, and Steve drove an orange Jeep Wrangler, and the kids for some reason started calling out like the punch bug game, Steve Davison red. If we'd see a Jeep Wrangler, we'd call it a Steve Davison, we'd call the color, and you'd get a point for every time you'd get a Steve Davison. And you may know in Bedford there's a car dealership that's right on the road, and there's all kinds of, there's tons of them, right? So we'd call Steve Davison Mountain, and you'd get all the points for all of those cars. Steve, when I told him about this game, what he didn't know is that if we saw Steve Davison driving his Steve Davison car with the state representative plates on it, that was 1,000,000 points. And so I don't know if it was Claire or Elaine or Graham saw him out and wanted to have a proof that they'd gotten the 1,000,000 points, and he was very gracious to get a picture with the kids and document that they had won the game for a lifetime, because they had actually seen Steve Davison with his vehicle. And we'll always, we would talk about that a lot, and having the Steve Davison game now. So in his memory, I hope others will will do that too. He was a great state representative. We worked very, very well together and helped each other out while we were serving together, and I miss him dearly.
Growing businesses is necessary for any community to flourish. What would you tell any young entrepreneur who is just starting out?
You know, some of you may know Claire is a young entrepreneur. She's got a summer school business that she started. She actually started it when she was a third grader. She would make Graham and Elaine do summer school. Sorry, Claire. And they would do it, and I was shocked that they would even. I thought if they do anything in the summertime, this is great. And then she just grew that, and by the time she was an 8th grader, she was preparing her curriculum, and I walk into where she's on the computer and just start asking her questions about it. What are you doing? How does this work? And she's, well, I look at the state standards on the Indiana Department of Education website, and I start building curriculum, finding resources that match that, and I put together a program. You know, she's an 8th grader. So that really opened my eyes to the creativity, the abilities of our young folks. And so, you know, I want to do whatever I can to help young entrepreneurs. I'm really grateful for Innovate Within and teachers like Mr. Wade Swift doing these Young Entrepreneurs program, because those folks that create these opportunities within their own circle. There are small business owners in our communities that turn out to be our biggest job creators and our most philanthropic donors for the Community Foundation and others.
Has there been any legislature that has helped young entrepreneurs that you recently assisted with?
Yes, so I had a bill this session that I worked with the IEDC and the Indiana Chamber to, one of the things we found when we were trying to help Claire, you know, sort of get off the ground with her small business was it's hard to get a bank account if you're not 18. You can't get a checking account, and you know, you can get a savings account but not a checking account. You can have a savings account but you can't have a debit card. You can't get credit. Like there's a whole, you can have a co-signer to help you get started, but it's really difficult to navigate that process. I'm a small business owner, and it was hard for me as an adult to navigate the process. So we worked with the Secretary of State's office, the State Chamber, the IEDC, to try to create a web portal that would have resources specific to young entrepreneurs. We also opened up about $20 million of investment, or we would have, I should say, because the was a non-budget year and they didn't open the budget for this bill, but I'm hopeful that someone will take it and carry it forward. But $20 million of private investment that we expanded the category of qualifying individuals to 14 to 18-year-olds creating small businesses.
What is your plan to foster young entrepreneurship and help support it?
You know, that's one of the things, and you know, at the federal level, if I can do anything to support young entrepreneurs, it's what I want to do. One of the things that I really appreciate about the Innovate Within program is that it's teaching students that there is more to a future career than being an engineer or a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer or anything in STEM. You can create your own destiny, and that's very exciting to me. Yes, we need all of those folks. They're very important. It's not to minimize that, but it's not always college. Sometimes it's, I have a really great idea and I want to see that through. And I think it's as adults, it's our responsibility to help foster and encourage that and do whatever we can to help get those small businesses of our young entrepreneurs off the ground.
What type of businesses are flourishing in our community currently?
You know, we have, in Indiana, we have a lot of manufacturing, we have a lot of agriculture, we have a very wide portfolio of opportunities. I just would go back to if we have broadband access, we can have businesses thrive anywhere. And Southern Indiana happens to be a very beautiful, safe, great place to live. So the broadband piece is very important. I think we'll see many other small businesses. My small business is a distributed workforce, so I don't have a brick and mortar building. I have employees that work from home, and we'll see that, I think, more and more, but we have to have access to the global economy through our network to do that. And I think I really think that our entrepreneurs are the future. I believe we build it from the ground up, not the top down, so if we can grow our own here through helping these young entrepreneurs build their businesses and have access to the global economy and support those very creative ideas. They'll be our job creators. They'll be the future. People will stay here. They'll keep their families here, and we'll continue to grow our area and our economy.
Looking to the future, what kind of businesses will be needed to keep Salem and the surrounding area competitive with towns or cities that have the same socioeconomics and populations?
I think I would go back to the previous answer, that it's building it here, and that what you're doing through the young entrepreneurs and the Innovate Within and all of those programs are great. We always talk about the workforce needs. So at the state level, I would encourage the Department of Education to allow schools to prioritize their own CTE programs. So in Indiana, we might say that advanced manufacturing is really important. So when we fund schools, if you have an advanced manufacturing program, we're going to give you the most money for that program. But if you are in Salem, or you are in West Baden Springs, or you're in French Lick, that might look a little bit different to your community and the workforce that is coming out of the high school. So I would say, if Salem says, it is advanced manufacturing, great, but they might say it's agriculture. They might say it's entrepreneurship. And if that's the case, then they ought to be able to prioritize their own programs for funding to support what the workforce needs are locally and what the interest is of the student body.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I just want to thank you for inviting me here today to participate and to talk about the work that we've done. I'm a small business owner and a state senator running for Congress, but I'm Claire, Elaine, and Graham's mom, Dustin's wife, member of Mount Tabor Church, and it's just been my pleasure to serve my community, and I'll continue to do that in any way that people will have me.
Again, thank you, Senator Houchin, for sitting down with me in the Salem Lions News Network. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Shields, for that interview. Now we can go over to our anchors for Monday Matters.
In today's Monday Matters, we will focus on mindset. Have you ever experienced a day where everything seemed amazing, or the opposite, the day was incredibly frustrating?
We all have days where our moods, feelings, and especially our thinking influence our thoughts and abilities. We may be upset because we couldn't find our lucky socks, and then later our drink splatters all over our shirt at breakfast.
It becomes just too much and could potentially set the tone for the day. However, on the days when we are feeling good, our spilled drink may not be so terrible and may strike us as funny or no big deal.
Thinking and recognizing the power of positive thoughts is life-changing. It's having a can-do attitude. This means that we feel and believe we can do anything that comes our way, even in not-so-great circumstances.
Our mindset determines our thinking. Our mindset determines our belief that we can accomplish anything. Every so often, we may have setbacks, but overall, we know that we can keep going and eventually be successful at what we set out to do.
Now let's bounce it over to the Shields for the Sports Minute.
Thanks, Abigail and Hannah. The Lady Lions sadly ended their season last Saturday versus Corden. The final score was 59-52. On a happier note, they won on senior night versus Austin, 68-45. Natalie Knoll joined the 1,000-point club with her mother, and she tied the three-pointers made in a season by hitting 55 overall. The Lions basketball team played Paoli Wednesday. They also play Clarksville tonight for homecoming and Scottsburg tomorrow. More on those games later. The Lady Lions competed in Day 2 of the sectional Monday night. The 200 medley relay of Yake, Tunney, Jarkey, and Irwin placed 8th in the finals. The 200 freestyle relay of Jarkey, Walker, Irwin, and Tunney placed 8th in the finals. The 400 freestyle relay of Jarkey, Yake, Irwin, and Claire Houchin placed 10th. Isabel Tunney placed 5th in the 200 freestyle and 5th in the 500 freestyle, and also set new school records in both. Great job by everyone, with 13 out of 17 possible personal records. Lions Unified will be back to hosting their annual Unified basketball game. Mark your calendars for Saturday, March 12th at 6 p.m. More details to come later, but it's guaranteed to be the most entertaining basketball you've ever seen. Teams will be made up of Washington County Special Olympic athletes and SHS students. Below is the link to order Lions Unified t-shirts if you're interested. Proceeds will help cover the cost of player shirts and our upcoming Unified prom. Again, a huge thank you to SCS for the support. And SLNN will be broadcasting it on IHSAA TV, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you can't be there, we have you covered. Now for some national sports news. The 2022 Winter Olympics have begun in Beijing. The game started February 4th and will go until the 20th. Team USA has 1 gold medal and is sitting in the top 10 of the medal count as of now. Also, have you seen their ski jump area? Really hope Homer Simpson isn't working during the Olympics. Bouncing into college basketball. Number 20, Texas, won a thriller versus number 8, Kansas, 79-76. Virginia upset number 7, Duke, 69-68. And in the women's basketball world, number 7, Indiana, beat Purdue, 64-57. Number 3, Louisville handily beat Syracuse, 100-64. And to end, don't forget about the Super Bowl. I think the Bengals will win that one. Good luck to both teams. That's all for the Sports Minute. Let's go to Draven for some rad skater news.
Hello everybody, well it's great to be back. We don't have a lot going on this week. Jimmy Lyon did get Nike SB Skater of the Month. He's super underrated, or at least I don't hear a lot about him. He has some of the best flip tricks and grinds in the game, especially his 50-50s. I haven't seen him enter any major tournaments, but I expect a lot out of him. Primitive also released their Spring 2022 line of clothes. I don't know who's going to tell them, but I'm pretty sure they're a little early. But they have to release their clothes early so they can restock them and actually have some in stock when spring gets here. Well, that's all for me. Now back to your anchors.
Thanks, Shields, for that Sports Minute, and Draven for the skater news.
Now we have some fun trivia for you today. Thanks to Mason for providing these fun trivia questions.
Question number 1. There are at least 24 different color roses, the rarest being what?
Question number 2. The first periodic table was made by Dmitry Mendeleev in 1869. How many elements did this periodic table have when it was first released to the public?
And don't you have a special question?
Who's the hottest quarterback in the NFL? It starts with J and ends with OE.
Really? But I can't say I don't agree.
Anyways, thank you for tuning into the Salem Show from the Washington County Community Foundation studios.
This concludes our 3rd show of the 2nd semester. Have a great weekend, SHS.
And enjoy the show on Sunday.
And remember, stay active, stay safe, and we'll see you guys later. Hug your loved ones and hoist the Jolly Rogers. And as always,
Fins up and fins forward.
I look fat when I see you because I'm like stretched
I feel so, like, just looking in the camera, I look like I'm melting, and I just look like a big busted can of biscuits.
a lot smaller.
Are we ready?
There you go.
I love you, husband.
This. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Teen Science Cafe will be hosting Randy Irwin on Tuesday, February 15th.
I'm so sorry. It's just like a sob happy right now. Randy Irwin.
Okay.
No, I gotta keep
Hang on,
this
don't count me
going.
down. Just let me go. Let me try it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go fast. Okay. The Teen Science Cafe will be hosting Randy Irwin on Tuesday, February 15th in the Fax Room after school until 5 o'clock. Mr. Irwin... We're being so annoying right now. We've got to get this.
I literally cannot. I need to like cover my face.
I didn't even say it yet.
I know. It's not funny at all.
Okay. Okay. The Teen Science Cafe... Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to...
It's also funny.
Normally we do very good.
We're gonna have the
but
best
We've
bloopers.
done horrible today. And I think they skipped over something. Yeah,
Monday
we're
Matters.
Monday
Yeah,
Matters.
we gotta do Monday Matters. What is that?
Alright, 3, 2,
At least we didn't suck at that.
Thanks, Abigail and Hannah.
good.
The Lady Lions sadly ended their season last Saturday versus Corden.
Thanks, Shields, for that Sports Minute, and Draven for the
For the Cater Skews.
I screwed us over the very first thing, and it's just been horrible today. Okay, I've got it. I'm really sorry, everybody. Can we start a new recording? Because this is so
Hannah, no!
Clear.
That was horrible.
That was awesome.
That was